as the market changes, we really need to dive into this buyer mindset. I'm going to go through 4 fallacies that buyers have right now that are really all surrounding affordability and cost. Stay tuned, and we're going to dive into this. We're going to unpack this. And if you can get through some of these fallacies, I think that there's deals to be had in the market over the next 8 to 10 weeks. So let's dive in. What's up, guys? Jeremy Kane, eXp Realty here, living in the Denver suburbs YouTube channel. Thank you so much for tuning in. We're gonna get right into this. And just today I was having a conversation, and there's this disconnect between buyers and sellers. Obviously, this happens when the market kind of shifts a little bit and buyers get back some power. But I want this to be pretty clear. The illusion of, how to price a home and getting a deal is absolutely that. It's an illusion. And so, for instance, when someone's like, well, this has a pitted driveway. Certainly, I'm not saying don't budget, don't plan. That's not what this is about. But when there's a list price and we look at the comparables and it's dialed in and it's, there's a good agent on the other side doing it, you're going to say, okay, well, this is, the list price, but that driveway is going to cost me $20K. So that knocks off $20K. No, that driveway looked like that when they made that decision to price it like that, and probably was factored in. If it's a major $20,000 repair, that's probably factored into the price. And maybe if it's not, that's fine. We look into it and we go from there. But more than likely, that home is listed in kind of an as-is kind of mindset from the seller. So as the buyer, certainly we want to try and get as much as we can and get the deal and, get as much help as we possibly can. But that does not mean that you take the list price and you start knocking things off. They did not list the home as it sat. They weren't like, well, this is what this house would be if everything was perfect. So this is what we're going to list it at, even though we know that the electrical is bad and the furnace is bad. No, they knew all of that when they took that into consideration. Certainly surprises pop up in inspection. That's what those are for. But when you're talking face value, looking at it, well, the driveway is, cracked and pitted, so let's take $20K off. Certainly you have the right to do that as a buyer and we can try it, but you have to understand from the seller's perspective, the driveway was pitted when they wrote that price on the listing. And so that's kind of the first thing, is that illusion of, this is the starting price of an elite home, and now we're going to take it all the way down. Because the fact is that they didn't price it as an elite home. They most likely priced it as an as-is condition home, taking into account those things already. So when we're thinking about negotiation, if they did that and they did it properly, which we can look at comps, and absolutely before making an offer, that's what we do. If we can say, okay, they kind of had that, maybe they're splitting the cost, maybe whatever, but you need an extra 10 grand to, get it done how you want to. Okay, well then we can have that conversation. But if they list it perfectly with all of the things that they had in mind, and then you come in and say, okay, well, that's another 100,000, you see how far apart you actually are as it grows. So that's number one. Next, we're going to talk about the monthly payment. This is huge right now because everyone's laser focused on interest rates. I will tell you that interest rates will still be high come mid-December when you get that notice of what your actual tax cost will be for the coming year. There's going to be some panic there because the taxes and the interest rate and the principal, as well as your insurance, which that's the next thing to go up after the tax shock wears off, all go into this monthly payment. So the fact that you're like, I'm never buying at an 8% interest rate, that has one part of your monthly payment. So maybe you can buy, maybe it's a townhome and the HO6 policy is cheaper and, whatever, right? If it's really about, can I afford this monthly payment and all the things that go into it? Trust me, I can't even determine without a calculator what the interest rate looks like and all the costs that go into that mortgage just by being like, oh, it's 8%, like I can't afford that. So there's no way that you possibly could do that, from your perspective. Maybe you can, but I just hear people laser focused on interest, but don't look now, but those tax numbers are coming in and that's going to be a shock to the system. Homeowners home price, mortgage payments are going up $200, $300, $500 a month because of the increase that we saw that we talked about back in the summer. Now those numbers are going to come to fruition. They go into effect January 1st. So if you're in trouble with that and you do have a huge increase and you didn't get to contest that, like I, hopefully got the word out that I was going to help you contest those and sent you the numbers and things like that. If you're in trouble, call me. Don't let that, kind of derail you. We can work through it, hopefully not have to sell your house and get out from under it. But that is going to be the next thing. And that's probably going to have a direct impact, much more than the 0.25% interest rate that you hear about and you hear the lenders talking about, and you kind of react to that. So understand the complexity of the mortgage payment, understand there's more than just the interest rate, and understand that the interest rate is variable. That's actually the most variable out of all of the things involved in the monthly payment is the interest rate. So if we can change that and we can get in that, we can, bring that down and use a seller concession to bring that mortgage payment down, it absolutely could very well be the best thing for you and the best use of $10,000, $15,000 concession. So understand that complexity. Stop saying the interest rates are 8% so I can't buy, because the fact is most interest rates right now are getting bought down at least a little bit. So very rarely do we see an 8% interest rate actually come across the closing table. So that's that piece of the puzzle. And the second fallacy in the mindset of the buyers at sometimes is they get laser focused on what the headlines are saying, and they don't take in the whole ball of wax, the whole monthly payment all in. My favorite, the Fairytale Market Trends, right? Please raise your hand right now if you said, hey, I'm going to not buy right now. The market's crazy. These bidding wars. I just don't want to get it. And then tell me that if now that those are gone, now is a better time to buy than then. The truth is they're not. We've seen the interest rates double. We're still, riding the high from those bidding wars, right? The market's not increasing as much, but we went from here to here, right? And now we're pricing homes here on kind of a more normal appreciation schedule, but the interest rates just doubled. And so if you were that person 3 years ago that said, I'm waiting till the market calms down, this is chaos, these bidding wars, whatever, well, now you're losing from the bidding wars and the interest rate. And so this fairy tale market of, I'm going to wait till the interest rates come down now. You're that guy that's chasing a fairy tale that's never going to come to fruition. So the truth is, let's sit back. Let's actually understand what the bidding war or what the high interest rate or what the combination of both of them are, because essentially we're living that life. Let's look at what that actually means to you and put a monthly payment on it and not worry about what the headlines are saying. Not saying, oh, that crazy 8% interest rate. Not saying, oh, but they used to be 12. And, all the stuff from both sides of that have so much wrong with it because it's just that one piece. So don't wait for the fairy tale market. It's not going to happen. The fairy tale ending comes when you actually sit down with somebody who knows, the market, a lender that can look at your credit and figure out what your interest rate's going to be, what those costs are actually going to be to get that interest rate or that desired interest rate, and what effect it has on your monthly payment. Then we can move forward. If you can afford a monthly payment in a home, you should be buying. You should not be renting, because certainly, renting is great, but paying 100% interest and then scoffing when you have to pay 8% interest doesn't make a whole lot of sense in the end as far as your wealth. So that's absolutely the case. Is don't wait for that fairy tale market. The interest rates aren't going to come crashing down, and the prices aren't going to come crashing down with them. Just will not happen. They're not directly correlated, but I don't think that that's going to come to fruition. And if it does, all the people that have equity in their homes are going to pull it out and they're going to buy houses, and they're going to have way more cash than you as a first-time home buyer. So it's almost better to get in before the competition, at a higher interest rate, but you're able to kind of maintain on the backside of some of the other things that make that monthly payment go. And then finally, we just need to talk about the reality of affordability. What is that normal price? If you're the fairy tale chaser, what is, I'm going to wait till this, till prices normalize, or I'm going to wait till interest rates come down. What is that interest rate, right? And do you really know what you're talking about when you say that? Certainly you can run some numbers, but lenders won't even put numbers to a monthly payment until they have a home, because the taxes are so variable, the insurance rates are so variable, and then the interest rates change, by the hour. So you have to really make sure that the affordability thing is of top mind, right? Because the truth is that the normal prices are actually catching up to the prices, right? It's not like, oh, it'll return to normal someday. We're just getting more and more used to it, right? When I was looking to buy my first home back 20 years ago or whatever, it was like, okay, well, $1,500, pretty normal house payment, right? Anywhere between $1,000 and $1,500. Then when I moved up to this home, it was like, okay, $1,750 to $2,250, pretty normal house payment. Now I don't see house payments under $3,000. I don't know how people do it. They're just getting in. But the truth is, we can't argue. We can't sit here and argue about it. We got to figure out how to make it happen. And if that's having a conversation with me, dialing in, a budget or a way to save or a down payment assistance program or a plan, let's do that, because that's where the magic happens, is when you take your life and you fit it into, okay, this is where we have to be. I want to be in the Denver metro area. I want to be a homeowner. Okay, how do we get there? Right? Because we can bitch and moan all day about interest rates and insurance and taxes, right? I'm telling you, taxes will be a conversation come mid-December into January, and will really have a drastic effect once we start paying, towards those taxes and those escrow accounts get caught up. That's when we're going to have people really freak out, because a quarter point interest rate isn't going to affect your payment crazy, but $200 or $300 or $400, $500 a month because the taxes just went up that much is going to absolutely crush you. So that's where we have to focus the attention, and we will focus it. Mark my words, December, January, that's what we'll be talking about right here on this channel. However, right now, we need to move our mindset off interest and understand that affordability is a real thing, and it's getting pinched. And the longer that you wait to rent, the longer it is the inevitability that you'll be a renter forever if you want to live in this town. And so we need to get you in. We need to do everything we possibly can to get you into home ownership, because that's when the magic happens. That's when you start benefiting from equity, and maybe you're paying a little more per month, but you're paying towards your own wealth versus your landlord. So I hope that helped. Those 4 fallacies are absolutely top of mind. I have conversations regarding each of those 4 every single day, and I'm always here to have a conversation with you. So book a call with me, reach out, let's make a plan, let's make you a homeowner, and let's not have you make the rookie mistakes of these 4 fallacies that I just mentioned. Like, comment, subscribe. We'll catch you next time in the Denver suburbs. Bye-bye.